This is Daily Blast Live. We are talking about what you're talking about.
Thrown under the bus.
No.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
I'm not okay with that.
It sounded good when I thought.
Log on and join our live conversation.
Yes,
I don't like that.
You're 100% right.
Hey, this is John Cena, and Daily Blast Live starts right now.
Thank you, John Cena. We've got an interview with him coming up in a minute. Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, July 22nd. I'm here with Stephanie, Tori, Brandon, and I am Sam. Let's get right into it. The heartbroken family of this toddler who died after falling from an open window on a cruise ship is speaking out right now. They say they don't blame her grandfather, who set her down by the open window, but they are searching for answers. Watch.
The first 30 seconds of the day, I don't remember what happened. And then it comes back and I relive what happened. We have a lot of questions, primarily, why is there an open window in the kids' play area 11 stories off the ground?
Oh my gosh, as a mother to a 2-year-old, the first thing that comes to my mind every morning is I can't wait to go upstairs and see my daughter and hold her. For that mother to have this sense of normalcy for 30 seconds and then to be shocked every single day that her daughter is no longer here. Tori, how was that even possible that that did not somehow go unnoticed? It doesn't make sense to me.
It's a little confusing, and the family is not speaking out too much about the window situation. As you can see, there's about 900 cameras everywhere. So we're going to get surveillance footage at some point. We have not yet gotten that surveillance footage. Now, apparently it's either a sliding door.
It's a sliding door.
And it was a fully enclosed,
Yep.
as you see right there.
Yep.
And he thought from your perspective, it absolutely was shut. And again, she loves to bang on the glass. So at some point, this is pure negligence on their part.
Pure negligence on the grandfather, maybe, because look at that.
I don't think so.
Look at that right there. How does the grandfather said that he thought the window was shut?
Yeah.
Look at that right there. That does not look like a window.
Yeah, but that's looking from the outside in. I mean, there's been many times. I think we're all lying where if we've always said, have all of us at one point walked into a door?
Yeah.
Like a glass door?
I've never walked into a glass door.
Okay, I have.
Okay, it's
and many
happened to
kids
me.
have.
That's some great Windex.
It happens, and I think on this situation, if it's a children's play area, no matter, regardless of the height, those windows should have been locked and bolted. There's air conditioning for a reason.
Right.
11 stories high is not.
You can go out to the balcony if you need air.
Yeah,
and if you look at any hotel that's a high-rise, whether you're in New York City, well, you're in Melbourne, Australia, whether you're in Vegas, you cannot open up those windows for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
So if they get it, why wouldn't they get it? Because a cruise ship is a floating hotel. That's exactly what it is. So this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. I know some of our viewers believe it's the grandfather's negligence.
I'm not trying to point
I don't agree here.
Fingers on anyone. You know what I'm saying?
It was negligent.
But just what they're showing with the simulation.
That was an accident.
How you have to slide the door open. You have to slide that window open.
I know, it was wide open. He thought it was closed.
That's
why do you have a sliding door 11 floors up in a children's corner?
Because a child can't get to it. A child is not going to be able to climb its way up there and slide that door open.
No matter what, that's a negligent part of the
I just
structure.
think if there's any point where there are any children and you're 11 stories up, even if it wasn't children, even if it was just a room, they should be locked and you shouldn't be able to open it.
I agree. But chime in, DBL Nation, please. We want to hear from you as well. Yes, please.
XOOX, all parties are at fault. It shouldn't strictly be the ship's fault. The grandfather didn't feel air, says XOOX, so people...
Yes.
I would not blame the grandfather on this one.
This grandfather is in his own personal hell right now. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. But please continue to write in. We are live. Police are searching for answers as we speak in the double homicide of this young couple. They were found dead on the side of a remote highway in British Columbia. But the authorities investigating are also apologizing right now. Why? Well, after they used a cat filter on a press conference video they posted to Facebook. Just look at those cat ears and whiskers on that police sergeant. How inappropriate. How are you supposed to trust this police department, Tori, to investigate if they can't even determine whether or not there's a cat filter on their Instagram Live?
Not only that, is anyone watching with their feed? So if anyone was watching, they'd see
Facebook
this,
Live, sorry.
Facebook Live, they'd see the feed and see the cats. It's a huge disrespect to the family. And it also shows this, I'm sorry, police force as silly and as incompetent. And when you're trying to follow a double homicide, that doesn't leave you with a lot of trust. People might laugh at it. It's not funny. It's harmful. We don't know who the murders are. These people were murdered.
Their families are grieving.
Yeah, I find this really atrocious.
Me too.
I really do.
And I'm gonna have to agree with you all on this one because they tried to say that it was an automatic filter. I went to my
turn the live feed off.
I went to my Facebook and I just tried to do a live feed just now, and you have to go click on which filter you want to use, including a karaoke one. So Tori, later on we're gonna jam out. But I was FaceTiming my little nieces this weekend. She was slapping on all different types of filters. I was a cat. I was a robot.
So
I was
she knew what to do.
She knows what to do.
And how old was she?
She's 9.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Shame on them.
They see it, turn
That's
the
an
feed
embarrassment.
off.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next story is generating a lot of heat on social media. Should parents be separated from their kids if they can't afford to pay for their kids' school lunch? Well, a Pennsylvania school district is coming under fire right now after sending a threatening letter to parents saying that their child could be removed from their home and placed in foster care if the parents didn't settle their kids' lunch debt. This is first of all, there's no weight in this. So you have different legal departments as well as their local welfare, child's welfare department, so outraged because they said there's no weight behind this whatsoever, and this is making their departments look bad. And they're also taking issue with the superintendent because what the school district was trying to do was collect a debt. And what were they doing to collect that debt? Preying on their parents' worst fear.
Threatening. It was threatening. So the school was $22,000 in food debt from breakfast and lunch. And the vice president, Mr. David Uvasage of the school board, said that it was never approved. However, the director of federal programs for the school district and the district lawyer wrote the letter together to threaten people to try and get money from them.
Doesn't it?
That was $10. Some of them was only $10 in debt.
But doesn't it show you, if we take a bigger picture, that this lens is how people view people? It's almost criminalizing an entire group of human beings that can't afford lunch, which in my opinion should be paid for by the state if it's a public
Now they've
school.
qualified, which is there's so many caveats to this story. So this school district has qualified because there's so many lower income families. I went to schools where most of us were on paid for meals, and nobody felt bad about it because it was normal and we saw it as just everyday living and there was empathy there. So for some reason the school has not capitalized on it. I know that they're going to qualify and they're going to start using it coming into the next school year.
That's good to know.
But yeah, the way this was handled makes you question that superintendent.
It was blackmail their kids. I mean, the parents, right?
It falls on that superintendent. It really, really, really does. So
it's not something you play with, is it?
No.
It can take your kids away.
No, absolutely not. That is as egregious as it comes. Tom Brady is catching flack right now for a video he posted to Instagram. It has New England Patriots fans very concerned, as well as some parents. Take a look.
Okay.
That's a tough one.
It's a real tough. This one is a lot of layers. I don't think he meant anything malicious.
Of course not.
But the little girl did hesitate right at the end.
I think she looked like she was going to go, and then she paused for a second. But look, she limped before he did.
And then she goes sideways, doesn't she?
In that split second of a moment, she's gone just before him, look, and then he went for it.
Yeah, the momentum's there.
She wasn't saying no and pulling back. She goes, look, first, and then she stops.
Why would he have posted this? You know what's going to happen when you post this. Because, listen, every parent out there is going to have these flubs with their parents. It's just, that's life. That's going to happen. He didn't mean anything malicious out of it. I'm not going to blame him. I'm not going to shame him. But why would he post it?
Because Tom Brady doesn't care. He doesn't care about all these internet parents. All these internet parents that's going to tell him how to parent. The daughter's fine.
I'm not going to tell him how to.
The daughter's living her life.
She might have a fear of heights now.
Or my father taught us how to swim by just throwing us into a pool. Or it was a lake.
And you still swim?
I still swim. I can doggy paddle like a champ. To this day. But you have to understand, like, the parents that write in on this are the ones that try and coddle their kids.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't like she hits the water not at the best angle.
I know.
Good. That's
but I don't
good.
think people should be shaming him. I really
absolutely
don't.
not.
But I do find it weird that he posted.
I kind of, at first I was like, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong. Then I'm like, no wait, he fully agreed to post this. You're right. Why do that if it's questionable?
Because his caption was saying that, you know, she's not going to go on to be an Olympic diver, but daddy still gives her a 10.
I don't know if I give him
feels a little weird. All right. You knew what you were getting into by posting that one. Correct.
We're talking about it.
Yep. We have to give a big DBL shout out to Prince George. Today is his 6th birthday, and the palace shared these adorable pictures of the future king. They were taken by his mom, Duchess Kate. So why is everybody talking about this?
Okay, so usually there is like a professional photographer that releases all of the royal family's photos, but Kate has been studying photography. She describes herself as an enthusiastic amateur, and so yeah, I think this is really sweet because we're seeing Kate's like talents and skills, and we're seeing the son, we're seeing George in a way that we don't normally see.
So this is against the grain. This is against the grain when it comes to the monarchy.
Oh yeah, completely. And the fact that he's smiling and laughing, we don't usually see the royals in that way. Especially, these are so personal. These are like.
Can I ask you a question? Is this a modernization of the monarchy due to a little Meghan Markle, you think?
Oh, keeping up with the Joneses?
Trying to keep up with how cool she is?
Tori said that this morning. I don't want to.
Maybe not.
I feel like, I hope it's not. I hope Kate's just doing it because she loves it. And it's a nice thing to do.
When they apply a cat filter, that's when.
Trying to come full circle?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for helping me out. It's Monday.
DBL is live. Coming up in just a minute. John Cena is the ultimate nice guy. Tori goes one-on-one with the wrestler turned movie star to find out how he's giving back to America's first responders. And you, the viewer, are our 5th host. Amazon has banned books about gay conversion therapy, but congressional Republicans want them back online. Your comments on that when we come back.
Host. Is this the 5th host thing?
No, the 5th host is about the Amazon selling
Right,
books.
so I'm excited about this. Amazon is banning a book, and you know me, Tori, don't ban books. My 8th grade was only banned books. We read books that were banned because we're such a hippie school.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, it was called the banned books
love
class.
and hate your school.
I know, everyone does.
That's great.
But, however, this is a ban I agree with. Now, it's on a book about gay conversion therapy. If you guys don't know what that is, it's I'm gay mom, I'm gay dad. No, you're not. We'll take you to a therapy, which is deemed completely debunked, and torture you in a lot of ways to psychologically alter who you are already as a person being. And people have killed themselves over this, and it is a horrific way of trying to change someone's sexuality. So Amazon has banned it due to dangerous speech. What do you guys think? Because this hits a big question. Is banning this book censorship? Or is it protecting people?
Yeah, but we ban other books where medical journals. So every major medical journal and every major medical professional, as Tori just stated, has completely debunked the effectiveness, the ineffectiveness to gay conversion therapy. And then on top of that, they've listed the side effects, which can be everything so short as suicide or so drastic as suicide, all the way to trauma and abuse and torture. And so they don't want any playbooks or rubrics out there, so to speak, with something that has been proven to be debunked and detrimental to someone's health. So we banned other things that have been debunked by medical
and also
professionals.
Amazon, for instance, can't have a book on how to build a bomb. They used to have that. There was a really big issue with that. But there's a major issue with that, right?
Really
Some speech isn't protected. If I have a book about I hate the Jews and I'm going to take them down and specifically show that I can take down certain people, that's not going to be allowed. So I think this is one of those times where censorship is working.
Yeah.
I know.
Welcome back to DBL. It is time for Fifth Host when we talk about what you're talking about. Some Republicans want Amazon to lift its ban on selling gay conversion therapy books. Last month, the company announced it would no longer carry the books after an online petition with 80,000 signatures surfaced, calling these books dangerous and destructive. Now, a group of conservatives is lobbying to lift the ban because the books are being censored and do not violate Amazon's policy. So, DBL Nation, should Amazon sell gay conversion therapy books?
All right, let's get to these comments. Tina from Facebook says, gay conversion therapy is unethical and ineffective. It should be condemned by every treatment provider with the brain. Amazon, stick to your ban. Thank you for writing in, Tina, but we can't pick and choose what part of the First Amendment of our constitutional rights we want to use. So I look at it as a situation like this. They have pro-Nazi books on Amazon. They have 4 books on how to kill yourself. They have books on the Ku Klux Klan. I would never go to my sister who's LGBT and be like, hey, I got a book. Maybe you can come to the straight side. Absolutely not. I want her to be free. But at the same time, if I'm gonna say I want to use my First Amendment right, I have to respect others in their First Amendment rights.
Interesting. Well, Kyle from Facebook says, this is America. Whatever happened to freedom of speech? So I am fascinated by this topic. As you know, I'm a Puritan when it comes to freedom of speech. However, there is speech that isn't protected. Again, if you have a clear and present danger, if I yell fire in a movie theater, if I say or burn a cross on my front lawn in front of African-American family, that has been deemed too insightful and too much of a provocation to be cleared. Amazon can't put a book out on bombs, on how to make a bomb. So for this, what they're saying is this is dangerous speech, and therefore we have an investment in our people to regulate it. I'm okay with this, which is interesting, because certain speech, very protected, very specific, is not protected, and I think this is so unethical, it should be considered one of them.
Hope from Facebook says, if bakers now have a right to not bake a wedding cake for a paying customer, then Amazon should unfortunately be able to sell this garbage if they choose. You know, I'm really glad that Amazon have listened to their customers on this one, and obviously there's a lot of people out there that all feel the same way, that this shouldn't be able to be sold. It's actually horrible to hear that they do have books, like Brandon just mentioned, on how to commit suicide, or like they're not selling books on bombs. Like, these books should be banned, in my opinion. I just think there's no need. It's just harmful. There's no proof that any of this therapy works. Agreed. Let's just move forward.
But when you just jump with banning too many of those books, just know the First Amendment says we can't establish or incite a certain religion or thought process. So you can't allow hate. Vile speech should be protected.
But this isn't speech. These are practices, as you just stated, have been debunked by medical professionals, by medical journals, as not only being ineffective, but harmful to the point of death via suicide, or trauma, or torture. So it's not speech, it's an act. It's a rubric of how to create torture and death, according to medical professionals and medical journals.
But I don't want us to go so far as to say ban KKK or Nazism. You have to understand.
I have no problem banning those groups either.
Because then you have a problem with true democracy if you
Black
can't
Panther Party, and
that's
they're going
exactly right.
And one thing I'm worried about is when you ban something, you see a rise in sales, like Kaepernick and Nike.
Right.
So I see people rallying behind this, and this book is going to fly.
This one is specifically correct that it's dangerous, and therefore I think it deserves a censorship.
All right, fair enough. Thank you for writing in. Queen just made music history again. Raquel Villanueva has the news at the moment.
That's right, Sam. In 1975, Queen made a music video for Bohemian Rhapsody for less than $5,000. Now it's the oldest music video ever to pass 1 billion views on YouTube. Take a look. Now, the staying power of Bohemian Rhapsody is undeniable. It's currently the most streamed song of the 20th century, and it was one of the top searched songs on Google last year.
Wow, thank you, Raquel. So cool. Coming up next on DBL, we find out for ourselves why John Cena really is the nicest guy in Hollywood. Do not miss Tori's new interview coming up next.
So I wanted to bring this up. This is the Timothy McVeigh case. If you guys remember, he is the one who planted the Oklahoma City bombing, which killed many children at a daycare at that building. He actually read a manifesto online that helped him figure out how to make that bomb, and it went to the Supreme Court as to why is that allowed or not. And here's the quote I want y'all to know. This is what Sam was saying in a non-Supreme Court way, which makes it much easier to understand. But First Amendment principles that is speech that is, quote, an incitement to imminent lawless action is not protected. And as Sam said, this is different than my opinion about Jews or my opinion about black people. This is a action plan for imminent action that can harm someone. So that's why those books were deemed unconstitutional. Now, for me, the KKK or the Nazis or any other place pro-life people, right? If I say that you can't allow them, but you can allow my pro-choice thing, that's called favoritism, and you can't allow that in a true democracy. The First Amendment says Congress can't establish any kind of religion, meaning they can't play favorites, right? But you can talk about an imminent unlawful action. So if I burn a cross on my front lawn and my neighbors are black, that's going to incite with such provocation because of the context that is deemed unconstitutional.
Break that down, Tori.
But bam!
What I say, and we do it now.
He said no! We're a go for extraction.
No, wait, what?
Ooh, welcome back to DBL. That was a clip from the new movie Playing with Fire, starring John Cena. John Cena! Is that right? Okay. Yeah. Well, the movie comes out this fall, but a nationwide contest for first responders to meet John Cena starts now. And we know we have a lot of DBL Nation viewers that are first responders. So I sat down with the WWE star to get the details, so take notes. That's in today's Chatting with the Stars. John Cena, welcome to Daily Blast Live. First off, congratulations on making your official Fast and Furious debut. But I must ask, the photo they put on Instagram, Vin Diesel is in front of you flexing. So do you think he's doing that on purpose to outshine your magnificent biceps?
I think you're trying to start a little bit of controversy where there is none.
Well, speaking of new movies, the Playing with Fire trailer finally dropped. It looks hilarious and adorable. So I want you to tell me about this contest you're doing for the movie, because a lot of first responders watch DBL, including Denver Fire and a bunch of others. So let us know about this.
Yes, so hilarious, adorable, all that stuff. Playing with Fire is a wonderful ride for the whole family. Kids will laugh, adults will laugh, and the environment is created around these elite first responders called smoke jumpers.
What kind of firefighter are you?
The Playing with Fire hooked up with Good Housekeeping, and we've come up with this hometown heroes concept, where if you are a first responder, and that's fire, medical, police, whatever, or if you know a first responder, because a lot of times they're extremely brave, but also extremely humble.
Humble, yes.
Go to goodhousekeeping.com right now and tell their story or tell your story.
Amen. We bow down here to any first responder, and I'm so glad you're giving them the spotlight they so well deserve. Besides being a WWE star, you might be known for how nice you are. You've done more Make-A-Wishes than any other human being. Talk to me about that.
Thank you very much for bringing up the Make-A-Wish. It's something that provides me with constant joy and constant fulfillment. It's an indescribable feeling to see the happiness and the joy on the faces of the children and the families that I meet.
Wow.
So if you're out there and you're listening, take the extra step, take the extra second, and try to choose kindness.
Well, thank you. You are such a gentleman. What a pleasure. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks again.
Thanks. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Tomorrow marks 50 years since the lunar landing. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were the first humans to step foot on the moon. Most people can remember exactly where they were watching it all unfold. And today, we're looking into the future by talking to Carl Jones. Thank you for joining us today, Carl. So,
no problem. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Now, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, but what can we expect from NASA moving forward?
from NASA, the biggest things that are on the horizon are the launch of Americans from U.S. soil for the first time since the shuttle's been retired via the Boeing CST-100. And then after that, we set our sights on going to Mars, but the first stop is going to be Moon. And so we have the Artemis program and the Gateway program that are going to basically set the way for that, for us to go to Mars later on. So the Gateway program is basically going to be a launch point, the International Space Station, but not as big. And it's going to be basically a kind of a launch point. So we'll launch spacecraft from here like we normally do. They'll go to the Gateway, and then they'll take lunar landers from the Gateway down to the surface of the Moon. And then later on, once we actually start exploring Mars, it'll be basically kind of an intergalactic, gas station of sorts as a stopping point before they go further. 50 years ago, our biggest goal was to just get to the Moon and then bring them back home safely. So now we're trying to actually go to the Moon and establish a sustainable environment there, get a base going, and then test a lot of technology that we currently don't understand in order to go to Mars or to go to Mars for a long duration space travel. Right now, we don't understand how the human body reacts or how we could, how astronauts would do in a long duration mission. So a lot of those things we can use on the Moon first before we start doing that and start sending humans that far away.
If they had volunteers to go to Mars, would you be one of them?
Yes, absolutely. I've always wanted to go to Mars. Honestly, that has been a lifelong dream of mine. I watch all kinds of movies about it. Obviously, The Martian, this has been a dream to work here, so I would 100% go to Mars. Depending on where the Earth and Mars are in relation to each other, it can take anywhere from about 6 months to 2 years.
Well, I can't wait to watch all those unfold next 5 years. Fingers crossed to be there and see the launches.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Carl.
Of course, thank you.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. What do we have, Tori?
Okay, Tom Brady. People went crazy about this. Doris Shoemaker says, I would never do that to a child. However, Michael Loveland says, well, that's how you learn. Kyle Baxter says, seeing that cliff jump with Brady and his daughter, I'm half shaking my head, but mostly concerned. That looked pretty crazy, to be honest.
No, but she's 6.
And she's 6, but then my favorite is XOOX says, I wouldn't mind if Tom broke his throwing arm.
Oh.
So,
wow.
Michigan, I'll always be a Brady fan. But yeah, I think the height was a little bit.
That wasn't
daunting.
that high off the ground.
Really?
For
For
a
a 6-year-old, dude.
You got to learn someday. You got to learn someday. Stop coddling the children. She's all right. She wanted to jump. She wanted to jump.
For me, I don't care about him giving her a bit of encouragement. She looked like she was going to jump, but it's the way she hits the water that I'm like,
Well,
she was clearly hesitant at the end.
And
I know that he leapt before realizing that, so that's why I cut him some slack. But he knew what the reaction would have been when you post that. You just
Good point.
know.
Yeah, the
Jeff and Jordan know.
Are like, woo, woo.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
Giselle was probably like, post it.
And that's why
they don't want the attention. It's just they didn't think it was that much of a big idea.
Oh, the parent police are coming out. Trust. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys.